Hey, 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 Big Dave the Middle-Aged Gamer here with another episode of Enderal, Forgotten Stories. And if you remember the last episode, we helped the mayor get his wife back together, sort of. And now, it's time for us to move on to the west. Why are we moving on to the west? Well, there's a bounty for a wanted man. We're going to go claim it. Maybe not the easiest fight we're going to have, but it doesn't mean it doesn't need to be done. If you look at the map, it's along the coast, beyond Penta's house, and beyond Yarrow's house. We'll be following the coast for a good bit. So, first thing we need to do is get to the coast. And as always, that will be through this farm. Streetzel. No, he's a good dog. Don't tell him bad dog. Jeez. Come on, dude. Come on, game dev. Is that still a dead one? Yeah, that's a dead one. What that also means is that things have not cleared up here yet. There's some reagents here. Those are not reagents. Okay. So, moving on. Going to be a bit of a hike. So, while we're traveling, that's reagent. Do want to let you know a bit of a programming note. Cult of the Lamb came out with a new update called Since the Flesh, and that will be premiering it soon as part of the campaign. So watch for that. That will be coming at some point soon. I'm sure you noticed that Skyrim has not been up and running lately. Well, there's been another update. You know what that means. Of course, on my luck, giving out this programming update will be completely foolish because it will be done. On my luck, I'm going to do things completely out of order. That's what I always do. Spare parts, well, let's go for it. Alright, swimming across here real quick. Let's look at the map again so you can see where we are. Big dead Krabby. That was not our doing. He was like that when we found them, I swear. And it looks like we're heading towards that castle way off in the distance. I don't know what castle that is. We are heading to that castle. Alright, so... Wait, we're going to handle this, actually. We're going to take the tracks. Woo-woo! Who's that? Really? We're going to save, because we came up across a friend.
Now look at that. A lonesome traveler. Some folks just never learn.
Shit!
That's our last stamina piece. We'll use that potion of woe. No, it does not turn us into Joey Lawrence. let's check our... Okay, we need to eat something. So I think that's what we're going to do. So, some roasted wolf meat? Yeah, sounds good. Okay, we'll save again. And where are we now? Ore terminal. Okay. We're pretty close now to where we need to be. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue to follow the tracks. Take this lock. There we go. And it turns out I went the right way. Oh, would you look at that? That's a pirate hideout. Save. This place looks pretty expansive here. Wrong button. Whoops. Try that again. .240 seconds is 4 minutes real life. This is awfully quiet for a pirate hideout. Okay, some sellables. Poison is always good. And that's all of interest on the boat here. Wait, seriously? He's right there? Okay, we're gonna save. There's psychosis. If I remember right how this works. That wasn't it. Psychosis does 2 points of magic damage per second for 8 seconds to humans and critters. If you hit the target 3 times with this spell while its effect is still active, the target will become mesmerized, reduces resistances, strength, and reductions. It depends on your psionics. Well, my psionics is kind of shit, but it's something. Wait a minute. if I can get it. This. Okay, where's my weapon? Did I forget to mark my weapon? No, I did.
What? That's all you've got?
Just
No! Please. Mercy. Look,
like the bite of a flea. Lucky. Just a scratch.
That's two of them. Whoa. Okay.
All you got?
that's all you've got.
Damn you!
Damn it! No one said this was going to be easy. Okay, now that I'm actually seeing the pirates a little better. That's not what I wanted to do.
Fucking. Piece of shit! You. Pay for that. Like the bite of a flea. Just a scratch.
Okay, this is getting crazy here.
fucking scum! You'll pay for that!
Just a scratch.
What? That's all you've got?
One left.
Like the bite of a flea. Like the bite.
Save. Spell Tome Dream Eater, rank 1, does 9 points of magic damage to critters and humans, and 1 additional damage per 3 points in psionics. Hidden attacks and attacks on mesmerized enemies count as distant hidden attacks. Save again, because we got something new, and thank God I had that shield spell on, huh? Looking at my inventory space, 315 to 377, and that may have just cleared everybody out of here. And now that the hard part is done, now we get to loot. Maybe? Anything here to loot? Seems like a lot of empty crates here. Yeah. And of course it's empty. Alright. So, nothing up here. Ooh, a moon carrot. Shit, I wish I'd known that earlier. That would have made the fight a lot easier. So far, the only thing resembling treasure that I've got, not including loot off the enemy's corpses, has been a couple of iron ore veins. Whoop-de-fucking-do. Okay, here's something. 2 iron battle axes. Oh, whoopee. And of course the chickies are adorned. Oh, we got one left. Okay, that's the way you want to play it? Okay. And into the drink she goes, right? No! Oh, lucky us, huh? And we're not weighed down yet. Good. Chest here has just some pennies. Fine. Pennies don't weigh anything. I like that. Yeah, that boat ain't going anywhere. Okay, so just going around, just making sure we've got everything on this side. That's a workbench. Nothing I need to improve because I've already improved what I can with my gear. Another chest here. Okay. Alright. Make another circle around. Then we'll go inside here. And we'll save in case there's somebody waiting for us. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Prophet's ass. Someone's out there.
Oh. Hey. Okay, he's not going down quickly, so... Well, I kind of got him stun locked here on a block. Okay, hey, said to the rat catcher. All right. Good. Ooh. Absorbs health. That's good to have when you're hurt. Weak shaman amulet increases duration time trans. Oh. Okay. Ratcatcher, set bonus 11 added to the spell book. So, we're going to check. Here we go. So the Ratcatcher, we have Cold Glance, increases health by 8, heavy armor fortified by 5, one-handed attacks do 3% more, and increase health regeneration by speed by 6, and an extra one-handed attack damage. Okay. Increase health by 8, extra fortify armor, heavy armor fortification by 5, and more one-handed attack damage. Yeah. Okay, so in the interest of I don't feel like coming back here, we're just going to grab everything and just get the hell out of here and come back later. Spellbook, Grave Curse, rank 1. New spell. For 7 seconds, the health regeneration of the target is 15% slower. If the target dies while the curse is active, it explodes and deals 50 damage of percent of its health as entropic damage to enemies nearby. Damn! That's a freaking novice spell? Wow. Don't need to cook anything. I've got plenty of food. What I could use is a damn bed, though. Potion of the Fingersmith. I don't know what that means. We'll just have to take a look at that real quick. Sleight of hand is 10% more effective for... Okay. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to clock our fever right now. Not there. It's at 31%. We're going to have a good day of sleep. And we're going to see if that lowers the fever. It did not. Okay. Well, so much for that idea. I guess the only thing we can do is be on the watch out for some ambrosia recipes. Those were empty bottles, weren't they? Yep. Esteemed Koldrak, I request that we immediately send men to move the looted goods from the shelter. This old ore adit may be an ideal hiding place for the ship, which we use for the assaults on the merchant ships heading to Ark. However, the hideout is rather noticeable due to the placed lorry tracks. If the steel crabs get wind of it, we can't secure the goods anymore. Oh, that's interesting. Alright, let's pick this lock here. Flawless Garnet, couple health potions, iron ore, and spell of arcane rune. And a small stash with some more pennies and some old vagrant gauntlets. Awesome. Okay, so that takes care of this house, and it did its job. I got better boots out of this. That's always good. All right, let's get the hell out of here. It's going to be a bit of a slog on the way back, but we will get there. We'll sell our shit. Now, you may have noticed the time. That's not what we're going to say. 7:14 p.m. It's going to be nighttime when we get back. That's fine. Because we can just waddle back in. And sleep for the night, and then we'll have a nice morning where we can sell all of our stuff and make more money so we can get more learning and crafting books. Speaking of which, okay, I did max out rhetoric on Apprentice, so start getting a adept level of rhetoric spell. So that way, books. That way we can start improving our purchasing power further. It's a lot more useful right now than handicraft. The train is going really slow. Then again, I am weighed down, so that's to be expected. How weighed down am I? By about 66 pounds, if my math is correct. And we still got to turn in the quest anyway, so As I said before, if this means I don't have to come running all the way back here just to finish looting, so much the better. I'll deal with the walk back. Anyway, that house marker apparently was for this pirate hideout. Go figure. Alright, continuing the walk here. It's just like, kind of reminds me of my old radio days. It used to be where you get on air and you would have these break periods and you would just have to just keep talking about absolutely nothing to fill the time. And that's kind of feels like where I'm at right now with this. And in case you're wondering, yeah, your boy Big Dave used to do radio. He even went to school for it. Got a lot of good that is. Because I basically specialized myself into... what's the word I'm looking for? I'm doing this again. Obsolescence. Like, immediately. Not my brightest item. Not my brightest career choice. Hopefully this one will fare better. So far, no good, but that's as of this recording. And if you'd like to see your boy Big Dave make a career out of this, then tell your friends about me. If you like what you've seen, you haven't subscribed yet, yeah, please do so. And don't forget to give these videos likes too, because that will help push me down other people's throats a little better. It'll get me out there. So yeah, don't be afraid to give some likes here. Your boy could use the love. Okay, we're coming up across what's it, Yenis's house, I think? Yarrow's house. This is where we will need to be to talk to our friend from a few episodes back. We're not here for that right now. Actually, we shouldn't be on the tracks anymore. We should just be hugging the coast. So we're making headway. It's only been a few minutes. Now you're probably all wondering, okay, Dave, quit bouncing back and forth between subjects. Get back to the radio. What kind of radio did you do? Well, I was a metal jock. What a shock! Me doing heavy metal. And I was pretty good at it too. Had a lot of fun with it. Never got anywhere particularly huge, but once upon a time, about 20 years ago, there was a thing called Shoutcast, and it was one of the forefronts of internet radio back at the time. hell is this here? Why do I feel like I've been here? Yeah, I have. You can tell by the opened clamp. But yeah, anyway, Shoutcast was a thing. As was a program that was used to use it called Winamp. And you listen on your computer and hop onto these little servers. And yes, I am. No. Let's stay above. I don't want to drown. Anyway, so you had all these really primitive radio stations, and about 15 years ago, I was at a station, little low-power FM classic rock station, where they would have me on to do metal. And between me and a guy who was on before me, who did basically horror schlock sci-fi radio, and on rare occasions our stuff would intermingle. No, maybe? Yeah. Anyway, on those nights that we were on, our station dominated. To the point where our boss was constantly chewing us out for having to upgrade our end of the internet server because we were just completely breaking it. There were so many people trying to listen. But yeah, that was my big radio claim to fame 15 years ago. Now, whatever happened, well, radio station changed hands, and the guy who got it didn't like me. Probably because I knew more about his beloved Beach Boys than he did, and he hated that. And so, I was the only one who was let go as a result of this ownership change. Fat lot of good that did, because the idiot was so bad at keeping up with licenses that the station went under in less than a year after I was gone. So that's the story of Big Dave's radio career. So anyway, we are coming close to... Oh, we're actually... That's the old barracks. This camp. There's Merrick's farm. Oh, there's Hero's house. Okay, we did pass by Penta's house. Okay, fine. There it is. Okay, that means we're almost there. So, what other interesting things to talk about while slogging through the beach to get back to Riverville? Well, is that another sloggy point? Oh no, there it is. I was just looking at this going, wait a minute, did I actually have to swim through two spots? No. That's just a little inlet. And as I said, this is slow going. Which I do apologize for, but again, I don't think you'd want to see me take the long march all the way back there just to finish looting. Especially since we got some pretty decent stuff and we need every red penny we can get our grubby little paws on. Because as you saw, those learning books and crafting books are not cheap. All the more reason I should probably continue working on, what do you call that? Rhetoric. Because that's basically your mercantile skill. If you want to use the Elder Scrolls equivalent. Nice night, though. Okay. Well, I can see the farm and Riverville on the compass from here, so we're getting pretty darn close. Yep, that's us. Look like a frickin' city guard just about. And yeah, the sky's getting darker. Okay, shops will definitely be closed by the time we get back. Probably should not have wasted time with that sleep, but we needed to experiment and find out if sleep actually nulled the fever any. Yeah, because 31%, I'm not very happy about that. But it'll have to do. When the shops are open, I guess we'll have to prioritize finding a way to nerf this fever a little bit. Okay, well, we're really close to the farm now, so... Great shot of that mountain there, huh? Pass, mountain range, jeez. Is there ever anything wrong with trying to collect more reagents? Come here, little firefly. Alright, let's make our way through the farm now. Just for shits and giggles. Oh, okay, mage light is candlelight. Hello, little piglet. Okay, whoever did the assets for the pigs did a really good job. They're adorable. Yes, get that Malthus flower. As a keeper, you're a tank, so being able to hold a shield is still of prime importance, so might as well have Use this spell here to get as much light as possible without sacrificing the ability to hold. Our shield. And we're just about at the end. We look at the time. Yeah, oh yeah, it's about 10 o'clock.
Walk blessed.
Grandma just watching the view. Really,
Walk
Grandma?
blessed.
Yeah, I think Grandma's lost it.
Oh my. You just don't get any younger.
All right, to the drunken bee.
Our ancient world seemed newborn in his eyes.
A game? Come on, take a seat.
He yearned for the skies. He abandoned
I think I'll
the
pass on
way
this on the game.
that mountains
Evening.
saw. He followed a path of his own, and he strayed
Just got a
in
new
the
delivery of
wild
ale.
as a
Anyone?
wayward wanderer, despising the path that was meant
Another
just for
exhausted
him.
soul.
Yet the dreams that he
Aye,
sought
there is.
red after red
Wonderful. I'll open
as ever before.
Soundly.
He did find
Hello.
in the city below, where life neither purpose nor honor can hold.
Music's
The
pretty good.
woman who loved him held out her heart.
Whoever did a really good job.
and tore it apart.
Really need that.
Okay, that'll put it at about 6 a.m. Let's give it the 10. Don't really need to be up before 8 a.m.
Cause he strayed in the void as a
Just got a
wayward
new delivery of ale.
wanderer, despising
Anyone?
the path that was meant just for him. Yet the dreams that he sought in the deep red afterglow were as distant as ever before. Our ancient world seemed as old as his eyes. He had lived his whole life under empty skies. When a little boy asked him for the guiding path, said, "Do not miss Malthus's wrath. 'Cause you'll stray in the void as a wayward wanderer, despising the path."
Yep, smoking through the helmet. That's hot boxing.
for you. Yet the dreams that you seek in the deep red afterglow are as distant as they'll ever be.
Oh, that was fun. Remember, kids, smoking is bad for your health.
Can I help you?
All right, let's make our way to the center of town. Or to the smith. That would be good, too. That's another farm there. Not what we need.
One day, I'm gonna be an adventurer. And
Just
I'm gonna
right for
explore the
purchase.
entire world.
From me, all you'll ever need. Apart from my wares, you mean? Vatiers, brigands. This country has seen better times.
You know, if you want to actually
10
do
pence for
business with
sack
me,
of
it would be
grain.
best if you saved that.
Damn these farmers.
Yeah, I love that. He's trying to make a sales pitch to me. He's not even at his place of business. Come on, man. I've done retail before. I know how that works. That's dangerous. Okay. Yeah, that was Wiggy. Anybody else see that? Birds running. Always funny. And there is our Smith girl.
How may I be of service? Of course.
Okay, sell the useless shit. It's nice, but we're never going to use it. That I will use. That should be useful stuff there. Wasn't even using the right shield? Are you kidding me? Alright, so that whittles down our weight considerably. That definitely puts us in a better spot. Hello, little pal. Yes, I'm going to chase you. Because you're cute. Okay, next item up for bids. We're going to put up our stuff that we want to keep but not use. Okay, we've got a lot of extra junk. We're going to put the Axe of Wrath back temporarily. We're going to sell those pieces of jewelry because we're never going to use them. Oh, I forgot I had the mana fungi. Yeah, I always forget. Okay, I don't need 7 torches. Put 4 of them back. If for whatever reason I can't use, we'll take care of that in a bit. But first things first. We're going to go to the general goods store. We're going to sell the rest of our crap. Come on, buddy.
Oh, hello. I haven't seen you around.
Yeah, you have.
A bit
You
of
saw me
this
last
and
episode.
that. Feel free to take a look.
You will not buy the jewelry. Fascinating.
What? quest? Oh, a bit of this and that. Feel free to take a look.
Don't need that. Oh. We're gonna buy those. And I'll show you why. Tales from the Wanderer, the Archer from the Steppes. On my travels through Vin, I've had a lot of interesting encounters, some with a pleasant ending, others less so. I met beings who could change their face like a woman does her clothing. Walking corpses lost once ghosts. Monsters that tried to tear me apart with their tusks and claws. The world's finest warriors and mages, even if they boasted titles and deeds, later revealed as lies. I witnessed the madness and greed of two monstrosities, which might not appear to fit this list of tales at first glance, but does illustrate what can become of humans when under terrible duress. Well, I could certainly tell a thing or two about my experiences and entertain a lively crowd for multiple evenings, but I'm neither a minstrel nor a vagabond, whoring and drinking my way from tavern to tavern. The Wanderer, that is my name and title. The purpose of my never-ending journey is to track down the most fabled warriors of Vin and learn of their legendary fighting methods and share them with a broader audience. So adventurers, whether aspiring or experienced, read my tales so you might learn something useful. One day I was walking my way through the steppes and rocky caves of the sandy mountains of Araziel in search of one such legendary figure. It was said that there, in the barren wasteland, the most dreaded marksman from beyond the Spice Canal lived. I gained some information about this warrior from a pockmarked drunk in a shabby pub located in the harbor of the great city of Al-Rashim on the coast of Kyra. Old man, he called me. He had reeked of seaweed, fish, and seawater, and was clearly a sailor who had seen much of the world. Take off your hood. I want to see who I'm talking to. Oh, what a fine scar you have there. Got it from a fight, eh? Guess you ducked a little late there, Grimps. Your right eye doesn't look too healthy either. Those colors aren't normal. You might want to get that looked at. But you asked me something, didn't you? Let me think. Did you hear the latest rumor from Araziel? He asked with a thick Enderalian accent. I looked sharply at the poor devil and shaken my head, even though I knew very well about the one who had reduced the number of bandits in the Sandy Mountains to a mere handful in a short period of time. They call him the Avenger of the Desert Dust, the drunkard continued. By the gods, some fiend he is, inhuman and tremendously powerful. They say that he kills his victims without his victims even noticing. Not until it's too late, anyway. One moment you're alive, the next you're dead. That's not getting in the way of someone like that. He leaned forward and added in a hushed conspiratorial voice. I heard he could bend time itself to his will. After continuing my research for a while longer, I eventually set out to see this Avenger of the Desert Dust with my own eyes. I traveled through the barren mountains and asked around the settlements of nomads, but no one knew the identity of this mysterious marksman or where I might find him. Several weeks passed before I finally came across a promising opportunity. At midday, under the sun's blistering glare, I climbed a tall ridge and suddenly heard sounds of battle. My heart leapt with excitement. This is what I've been searching for. I followed the noise and hid behind some rocks for cover. It could hardly be called a battle anymore by the time I got to witness it. It was such a short encounter that even a scuffle would have been a generous term. It was 5 against 1. A peddler, slim and tall stature, probably Azaralian, was being threatened by a group of bandits. They had knocked over his cart and killed the steppe beast pulling it. A dark red puddle pooled from under the massive carcass. The man pleaded for his life while the bandits tormented and harassed him. It was the perfect bait for the Avenger of the Powder Desert. He did not even make him wait for long. A peculiar sensation came over me. I recognized it immediately as the feeling of magic at work. Over the years, I developed a sixth sense for it. Out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a hooded figure carefully creeping towards the bandits with movements as dexterous as a cat's. Once he had gotten close enough, the figure raised a hand. The next moment, lightning and fire rained down on the clueless bandits. The mysterious presence jumped up, revealing a bow in the other hand, and knocked an arrow. And that's when mere skill and magic turned extraordinary. Silence at first, followed by a strange whirring. The world changed before my eyes. Everything suddenly looked like it had been engulfed by a drab-gray sludge devoid of color and slightly blurry. Each blink of an eye took an eternity. Everything was trapped in the spell cast by the stranger, including me. I knew what he had done, sensed how he dragged another reality from the sea of eventualities into life, and how it became the new reality. Fractions and tiny splinters of time itself were forced apart, slowing the flow nearly to the point of completely freezing. For the stranger, the river of time was unchanged. He moved as he were standing in the eye of roaring cyclone, unaffected by what was swept up outside that space of calm. I swiftly freed myself from his power with the help of a warding spell so I could continue to observe without warped perception. My second special eye caught sight of the arrows which whizzed through the air, each followed quickly by a spectral counterpart. Once the spell subsided, the bandits lay at the peddler's feet, dead, their vitals pierced by multiple projectiles. I could not believe what I was seeing. The archer walked towards the peddler, made sure he was unharmed, shoved the purse with coin into his hand to compensate for the broken cart and the pack animal. He did so in complete silence, never uttering as much as a single word. The hooded figure disappeared in a cloud of dust, but not before casting a glance at my hiding place. He knew I was there. I rose. The marksman was of slight stature. He had piercing green eyes the color of poison, with long lashes and a red strand of hair coiling from under the scarf in which covered his head and most of his face. Not a marksman, I realized, but a markswoman. After she left, I accompanied the peddler to the nearest settlement. I never met the warrior again, but what I had seen was sufficient to convince me of her talents. Based on the combination of conventional mental and elemental magic she used to preemptively strike down the bandits, coupled with her bow skills and stealthiness, I decided to name her fighting technique the Arcane Archer. If you take her most powerful talent of slowing down time into consideration, as well as this set of abilities, makes for one of the deadliest ranged fighters in the world. The only question I still ask myself is where she got the riches to compensate the traitor, since she lived in a poor region and the nomads surely did not have enough to pay for her deeds. There used to circulate rumors around Araziel that a magically gifted noble's daughter, well known by the people as cheeky brat of quick and rebellious temper who ran away from her home in one of the civilized coastal cities for no apparent reason. They say that she took part of the family treasure from the Voltis, probably as a form of revenge against her overly strict father. Physical features characteristic of this noble family were green eyes and red hair. And real quick, let's read the Blade Master. The Blade Master is what many call themselves, despite barely knowing the proper way to hold a sword. What is most amusing is that the majority stops being daring and loudmouth as soon as an opponent gets close to finishing them off. Then they beg and grovel for their lives, for mercy, vow on Malphas and the world to better their ways, abide the path. A real Blade Master does not beg. If he kneels down, then only to receive the final lethal sword strike. Merely a few of these unyielding warriors exist. The story revolves around the fate of such a man, whom I encountered on my journeys. A man for whom nothing was more than sweet than death itself. You must be kidding, I huffed, disgruntled. That much for one loaf? Where are we here, in some Kyrenian noble house of pleasure? That is the price for strangers, no more than less, nor less, the trader persisted. It brings you joy to squeeze out people out of their last coin, doesn't it? Let me tell you something. This often gets back at someone eventually. I handed the man the demanded sum and grabbed my bread. Have a nice day, my sir, he said with a malicious smile on his face. Burn in the sunfire, I grunted back. The streets of the city were bustling with activity. Around midday, this was usually the case. It was the hour of large deals for the traders, and bargaining and haggling turned into competitions. I was only passing through, but had to replenish my supplies. A week-long walk to the Frostcliff Mountains was ahead of me. Believe it or not, this trader had still offered me the best deal out of them all. Prices were currently at a horrendous level, especially for travelers. Yes, travelers were the preferred target if it came to leaving somebody's coin pouch flat. I sighed and took a look at my sachet. There was not much left. Soon I would have to come up with a creative solution if my luck would continue to reside on the end of bad. Back then, I was not as experienced. It was one of my first great travels across Enderal. There was a lot that I had yet to learn on the hard and rough streets. A lot that my extensive training with the masters could not have prepared me for. It was like with a child. You can offer them a hand, but in the end they have to learn to walk themselves. Somehow the people were restless, I had observed, even without the use of my special eye and enhanced senses. It was in the air. If I had asked around more, I would have known earlier what was going on, so I just came to know now when loud screaming resounded somewhere ahead of me. I raised myself on tiptoes and craned my neck to look over the crowd. A young fellow came running down the street. Today is the day. The time has come. The scoundrel is being dragged to the scaffold. Everyone come and see. The time has come. They'll string him up. Down at the market, simultaneously loud bell ringing echoed over the city's rooftops. The people turned their heads. Windows and doors were opened. Little by little, the citizens made their way towards the market square. Flustered whispering could be heard everywhere in the crowd. When the noisy brat passed me by, I reached out and caught him. His length swung forward. I quickly prevented him from falling. What's happening here? I asked. He stared at me with a scared expression. My cowl must have seemed frightening. The scoundrel. He's going to be hanged, my sir, stuttered the lad. Who is this scoundrel supposed to be? I demanded to know. The Bleeding Blade, the cutthroat who slaughtered a dozen members of the Order 3 moons ago. I let him go. He cast suspicious looks at me while slowly continuing on his way. I had not heard of a 12-fold murder in the area, and I had a good overview of every man who would be capable of committing such an act of violence. There was obviously something wrong with this case. I headed towards the market to take a closer look at this affair. A vast crowd of people had gathered in the square. The entire city was on its feet. In the center of the square stood a scaffold with 3 gallows erected on top of it. Freshly bound ropes on them were a sinister omen. I pushed further towards the front through the mass of people. It was not long before murmuring started around the eastern side of the square. The source of noise moved further and further until I reached the platform. Then I saw the guard squad. 5 keepers, armed to the teeth, escorted a man in the middle. He had long, straggly hair, which hung in front of his face with unkempt strands. His body looked maltreated. They had probably kept him in the hole, the most inhumane cell of the dungeon, not even wide enough to turn while lying down. Because of this, even his last reserves of strength must have been depleted. At the front of the troop walked the executioner, identifiable by the black and red hood on his head. The captive was led on the scaffold, on which a luxuriously dressed town crier, with a brooch of the order on his chest, had already taken position. The keeper struck the captive on the back so hard he fell to his knees. Nevertheless, he kept his gaze on the ground, did not make any move to resist his rough treatment or impending execution. This man was broken. He had accepted his fate. A stone flew from the ground and hit his head. He grunted, bared his teeth without looking up, and shook off the blow as if nothing had happened. Blood trickled down from under his hairline. It dripped on the wooden planks of the platform. This man, the town crier pointed an accusatory index finger on the captive and spat on the ground. This man, whose name is not even worth mentioning, killed 12, I repeat, 12 of our best warriors, honorable and brave men, in cold blood. The crowd seethed. Shouts of defamation echoed over the square. On the night of the 27th fundament, he assaulted them during their innocent sleep. Half of them were dead before even awakening. A dramatic pause over the town crier followed. The only acceptable punishment for this is death, but dear people, it would be presumptuous if that were to be the extent of his sentence. Before he dies, he has to suffer the same agonies as those he left with their throats cut. This scad bastard, son of a fisherman's whore, the speaker screamed while the crowd roared in consent. Bring the rack. 2 sturdy keepers wheeled the instrument of torture over a ramp on the scaffold. The captive did not show any reaction to what awaited him. He still has not confessed his murderous acts in the face of Malthus. Until this has happened, this pathless one will not receive any mercy. Frenetic cries of joy accompanied the words of the speaker. The captive was hauled up and tied to the rack. The straps were buckled up. With a nod, the town crier signaled the executioner to begin his work. The arms and legs of the captive strained while the executioner turned the crank. Not a single sound left his throat. He stayed completely calm. The speaker gave another sign, and the executioner continued to operate the mechanism, stretching the prisoner's limbs. The same procedure was repeated several times, but the captive maintained a stony silence. Anxious mumbling spread amongst the bystanders. The town crier started to become nervous and hastily whispered something to the executioner. I suspected that there was something amiss here. No normal man would ever endure such agonizing, cruel torture without showing a hint of pain. Apart from strong drugs or other medicines, only one technique existed which allowed for the complete dismissal of any pain. The iron cloak, only used by the highest of blade masters, the Tyrangalor, a very famous ancient federation of which many legends are told. Release him, the town crier sneered. We will chop off his fingers one by one. The captured blade master was dragged to the decapitation block. He did not fight back, his limbs flaccid. His spirit was elsewhere, his mind focused on something other than impending mutilation. The keeper chucked one of the captive's arms on the block. The executioner sharpened his knife, which was as long as his forearm. He set the whetstone aside, positioned himself in front of the captive, raised his hand, and brought it down in a fell swoop. But the knife never reached its target. I felt the shockwave of magical energy thunder across the square from the center, not perceptible for common people. The iron cloak had been released. In the next moment, the captive was on his feet. The iron shackle burst as if it were made of ailing wood. He grabbed the hand in which the stunned executioner still held the knife and broke the wrist with a skillful move. Then he took the blade and drove it into the man's neck. The executioner was dead before his killer, his bloody knife in hand, let him collapse beneath his own gallows. The marketplace went into uproar. The people fled from the scaffold in blazing fear, pushing each other in their haste to get away. I, on the other hand, forced my way towards the gallows. The 5 keepers of the order drew their weapons. The town crier tried to make himself scarce, but did not make it far. The blade master threw the executioner's knife after the fleeing man. It struck him in the back of his head. Face forward, he fell to the ground, still twitching for a little while longer in his death throes. 2 men dead in 2 blinks of an eye. This man was a death machine. You can probably imagine how he dealt with the keepers, but I will not withhold the details. The first was to approach him. A kick in the privates, an uppercut to the jaw, and the keeper was disarmed. The man barely had time to realize he had lost his blade before it was briefly returned to him, plunged in the unprotected neck right above the edge of his armor. Dead. Now the Blade Master found himself in possession of his favorite weapon. The second warrior of the order, a severed arm, then a stab through the heart, lethal strikes preceded by several matchless feints. The Blade Master dodged a blow with a somersault, piercing the right knee of the third attacker upon landing. As the warrior's leg buckled, the Blade Master's sword nailed his foot to the wooden board. His scream was loud enough to pierce my ears despite the ruckus surrounding us. The fourth keeper, Hugh, at the escaped prisoner, likely thinking he stood a good chance now that the target had just relinquished his weapon to incapacitate an opponent. He was easily evaded, and in return the Blade Master boxed him onto both ears, disarmed him as well, and used the blade to kill the third man, withdrew the sword from his foot, and ran it through the fourth's throat, a double death. Meanwhile, the fifth keeper had already made a quick getaway, like everyone who could reasonably be considered to be in their right mind. The torture and time spent in the cell had not harmed the Blade Master in the slightest. I was not surprised. These fighters could put themselves into artificial sleep for days and bury themselves in chambers deep under the earth to put their abilities to the test. The Blade Master jumped from the platform. I was the only one still standing in the market square. Just a few steps separated us. He stormed in my direction. My muscles tensed, but I was too slow. Already it had become impossible for me to dodge in time. He was lost as lightning. He was fast as lightning. My breath seized in my throat. For a fraction of a moment, our eyes locked as he passed me. I simply stood there, rooted to the ground. My shirt had been ripped at the right shoulder, revealing a cut so thin that I barely felt it. My heart started beating again. I turned around and saw the Blade Master make his way up the street, pursued by a troop of keepers. It took me far too long to start moving again and follow them. His combat style was extraordinary, unlike anything I had witnessed before. Under no circumstances did I want to miss the end of this dramatic escape. A swath of destruction had been carved through the street. I saw the trader who had sold me the exorbitantly expensive bread dead under the debris of his market stall. Apparently he had hastily tried to rescue his property amidst the chaos. Several innocents lay sprawled in their own blood, the ones who had not managed to get out of the way quickly enough. Finally, in front of the city gates, the keepers cut the fleeing Blade Master off and surrounded him. He saw himself closed in by an overwhelming number of enemies. I came to his halt as close to the scene as I could, gasping for air and leaning with one arm against a building for support. The keepers closed ranks, their halberds pointed at the Blade Master. One man emerged from the human barrier, stepping into the circle. My eyes widened. When I had woken up this morning in my hard, uncomfortable bed under blackberry bushes and thorns, I could never have imagined that I would experience such a spectacular situation. The keeper who had come forward was Rage's Starseeker, currently the very best swordsman of the Order and former student of the legendary Lorem Waterblade. He had long black flowing hair and was a downright handsome fellow. Yet his sharp cheekbones and flawless complexion merely created the deceptive illusion of a gentle soul. His blade was the most lethal weapon in all of Enderal. Rage strode towards the Blade Master with determined steps, stopping at a respectful distance, silence like before an approaching storm. Even the wind appeared to hold its breath. Suddenly the sword rushed out of Rage's scabbard and swept forward. Simultaneously, the Blade Master brought his weapon up. The swords connected with a loud clang which rang clear in the silent street. Both opponents held still, their blades crossed. "Name?" Rage asked in a calm voice. "Aramir, fifth of the Chiming Shadows," the Blade Master replied. His voice reminded me of a gnarled old wooden plank floating in the river. A Chiming Shadow. Rage's brow rose. "Well, that is interesting. I would like to offer you a fair deal. Surrender, and you will live, Aramir. I do not wish to kill you. It would be a horrible waste, a loss for the whole world. Whatever the issue, we can discuss the subject at peace without crossing blades. Choose the path of reason. Do not act so innocent now. You knew exactly who I am, and I have already experienced what a fair deal with the Order really means," Aramir spat. "You did not treat me fairly. You did not offer me any justice. I did not murder these people. They attacked me, I presume, on your command, Rages. You are human scum, a deceitful snake without honor, determined to exterminate people such as me. You want to get rid of the Chiming Shadows and the Tarangalor. You consider them a threat to your reputation, your cause. It's very shrewd. How you managed to spin it all so the blame lands on me. If you do not let me pass, I will fight you and your men." Rage's mouth changed from a relaxed grin to a straight, soulless wrinkle. "Believe me, you will die as well," Aramir warned. Rages took a step back and let his red cloak of the Order drop to the ground. "You asked for it." He loosened the cuffs and the collar of his jerkin. His reinforced leather armor glimmered with golden ornaments. Then he extended his arm, pointing his sword at his foe. With a grim expression on his face, Aramir emulated the movement. The two opponents circled each other, watching the other intently for the slightest opportunity. Their movements, careful and graceful as feline predators. Man, this is taking a while. Regis was the first to disrupt the waiting, engaging. Abruptly, a sword thrust at its target with the swiftness of a striking viper. Aramir parried the attempt without struggle, followed by an attack of his own. The blades danced and sparked in a swirling storm of silver. The endurance and speed of the fighters was unrivaled. The smallest mistake would decide the duel's outcome. I followed the clash, mesmerized by the dance of swords. After a series of fierce acrobatic maneuvers, Regis found himself at the advantage. Smiling insidiously, he dove under Aramir's incoming blade and struck him in the abdomen. It was a relatively small cut, though with serious consequences. Aramir stumbled backwards and pressed his hand to the wound, blood staining his fingers. Immediately, Regis tried to follow up on his success, but the tackle was diverted, and he was driven back. "You are hiding behind your armor, coward!" Aramir snapped. Regis's grin turned dreadful. He signaled two keepers to approach and remove his leather armor. "Now we are equal," he said. His black hair was sticking to his forehead. Excuse me. He took a delicate silk cloth and dabbed the sweat away, then assumed his fighting position again. Aramir was facing him, clad only in the rags of indiscernible color. The storm started anew. Whirling, dancing, the search for a weakness and the defense of the opponent. Aramir's movements painted a trail of blood spatters on the cobblestones. The longer the fight would last, the more this wound would take its toll on him. I doubted that he would have enough strength left to perform the Iron Cloak a second time. In a flurry, the two swords collided. They glided along each other, screeching in the face of their wielders. Unexpectedly, Regis grabbed Aramir's sword arm with his free hand, who no longer had the energy to prevent the move. An awful crunching resounded. Slowly, the blade pierced his chest until the red tip protruded from his back. Regis twisted his weapon, then released it. Aramir spat blood, the sword stuck in his body. Regis smiled a satisfied smile while the blood of his enemy stained his jerkin. "The chiming shadows are not what they used to be. You quickly gave..." He abruptly fell silent. Bewildered and unbelieving, his eyes stared down at Aramir's blade, which had found his way into his stomach. The older blade master drove it in with all his power, bearing it up to the hilt. Regis let out a rattling breath, though his clenched teeth flowed blood. Through his clenched teeth flowed blood. The look of smug satisfaction dissolved along with all the color in his face. A fight is not over until you have assured that your opponent is dead. This was a lethal mistake. Waterblade taught you well, but it seems he left out the most important lesson. Aramir coughed, a bittersweet smile on his lips. "I warned you that you would die as well." They both spat blood, collapsing to their knees. The keepers around them watched the spectacle motionless and silent, either too numb or too much in awe to act. Regis's expression twisted into a hateful grimace, but before he could offer a final response, his body slumped to the ground. Aramir tilted his head back, face to the sky. That single word was filled with such relief that it sounded as if he was finally free now, as if a heavy burden had been taken from him. "Death, sweet death, ripped my heart from my chest." His shout echoed between the surrounding houses. "Now I will finally see you again, my dear Iona." Then he fell silent too, dropping on his side. The entire city, no, the entire world seemed to lapse into silence. Somewhere high atop a tree, a robin started chirping. So what we learned about this is that this appears to be...
Blessed.
Okay.
Now, where did I put that?
So there you go. The art of combat. So we have one, who's a mercenary who mastered both one-handed and two-handed weapons, and an archer with and an archer elementalist. So yeah, this video has gotten really long, and we're gonna have to end it here because oh my god, this got long. All right, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to get the latest and greatest videos as they come in and to help this channel grow. I probably did not need to read those out loud, but that was entertaining nonetheless. This has been Big Dave, the Middle-Aged Gamer. This is Enderal, Forgotten Memories. I'll see y'all next time.